Hey there, friend. I'm glad you're here with me tonight. Let's settle in for a little while, just you and me, and I'll share a story I've been thinking about lately. It's one of those old tales that feels like it's been whispered through time, carrying a quiet kind of wisdom. I don't know about you, but sometimes when the world feels heavy, I find myself drawn to stories like this, ones that remind me to breathe a little slower, to let go of what I'm clutching so tight. So, come sit with me. Imagine we're by a flickering fire, or maybe just curled up on a couch with a warm drink. Let me tell you about a monk and his young disciple, and a journey that changed them both. A long time ago, in a land of dusty roads and endless skies, there was a Buddhist monk who wandered from village to village with his disciple. They carried nothing but their simple robes and the teachings they shared, words of peace, of letting go, of finding stillness in a restless world. The monk was old, his face lined with years of walking and wandering, but his eyes were bright, like he'd seen something the rest of us hadn't quite figured out yet. His disciple, though, was younger, eager, and still learning to quiet the chatter in his heart. One day, after speaking to a village full of eager listeners, they were ready to move on, but just as they gathered their few belongings, the sky darkened and rain came down in sheets. Not just a drizzle, mind you, but the kind of rain that soaks you to the bone in seconds. They waited, hoping it would pass, but it didn't. Hours turned into a day, and they realized they couldn't keep going, so they decided to stay. Outside the village, they built a small hut, just sticks and mud, barely enough to keep the rain out, but it was a roof, and it was enough. The villagers, though, they loved having the monk and his disciple nearby. Every day, people would come to the hut, sitting in the dirt to listen to the monk's words. They'd bring food, rice, vegetables, whatever they could spare. Some even brought little gifts, a woven mat, a small clay pot, a handful of coins. The disciple, he couldn't help but smile each time something new was placed at their feet. He'd look at these things and think, "This is good, we're cared for here." The monk, though, he'd just nod, thank them quietly, and turn his gaze back to the horizon, like he was already somewhere else. Weeks passed like this. The rain stopped, but they stayed. The hut became a little home, and the gifts piled up. One morning, out of the blue, the monk turned to his disciple and said, "It's time. We've been here too long. We need to leave today." The disciple blinked, caught off guard. "But Guruji," he said, "why? The people here are so kind. They respect us. They give us food, gifts. Why not stay a little longer? We could gather more and then we'll go." His voice was soft, almost pleading, but there was a glint in his eye, a hunger for just a bit more. The monk looked at him, his gaze steady, almost piercing. "What will we do with these things, my friend? These gifts, this money, they're of no use to us. We walk a path of letting go, not holding on. We've stayed long enough. We leave today, and we leave empty-handed." His words hung in the air, heavy with something the disciple couldn't quite grasp. But he nodded, because what else could he do? He couldn't argue with his master. Still, as they packed up, or rather as they didn't pack up since the monk insisted on leaving everything behind, the disciple's heart tugged at him. Those silver coins, those little tokens of kindness, surely they could be useful. So, when the monk wasn't looking, he slipped a few coins into the folds of his robe. Just in case, he told himself, just in case. They walked away from the village, the hut shrinking behind them, until they came to a wide river. It was the only way to reach the next village, where they'd share their teachings. At the bank, a boatman waited, his small wooden boat bobbing in the current. He looked at them, two monks in tattered robes, and said, "I can take you across. Usually it's 2 silver coins, but for you, holy men, I'll take just 1. The monk said nothing, just sat down on the bank, his face calm as ever. The disciple, though, he felt his stomach twist. He had the coins, hidden away, but how could he take them out? His master would know. He'd be angry, or worse, disappointed. So he sat too, silent, waiting to see what would happen. Hours passed. The sun climbed and then began to sink. The boatman didn't budge, and no one from the village came by to help. The disciple kept stealing glances at his master, hoping for some sign, some solution, but the monk just sat there, still as a stone. As dusk fell, the boatman spoke again, his tone sharper now. "Mahatman, it's getting dark. This place isn't safe at night. Wild animals come to drink here. You'd better go back where you came from, or give me the coin and cross now. I'm leaving soon anyway." Fear prickled up the disciple's spine. He couldn't wait any longer. With trembling hands, he reached into his robe, pulled out 2 silver coins, and handed them over. "Please, take us across," he mumbled, avoiding his master's eyes. The boatman rowed them over, the river whispering beneath them. On the other side, as they stepped onto the muddy bank, the monk turned to his disciple. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight. "I told you to leave everything behind. Why did you take those coins? Why didn't you listen?" The disciple's face burned with shame, but also a flicker of defiance. "Guruji, if I hadn't taken them, we'd still be stuck there. It's night now. Anything could have happened. These coins saved us, and instead of thanking me, you're scolding me?" The monk looked at him for a long moment, and then, slowly, he smiled. It wasn't a smile of anger or judgment, but something softer, sadder. "As long as those coins were in your bag, we were in trouble. But the moment you let them go, the trouble vanished. Do you see? True peace, true freedom, it's in the giving, in the sacrifice. You let go of 2 coins, and here we are, safe on the other side." I can almost see the disciple's face in that moment, friend. The way his shoulders must have slumped, the way his eyes must have widened as it sank in. He didn't say much after that, but later I heard he took the rest of the coins he'd hidden and gave them away to the poor they met on the road. And the 2 of them walked on, lighter somehow, toward the next village, the next story. You know, I think about this sometimes when I'm scrolling through my phone, seeing all the things I think I need. New stuff, more likes, a bigger something. I catch myself holding on, just like that disciple, afraid to let go of what feels safe. But then I remember that riverbank, that quiet smile, and I wonder, what am I carrying that's keeping me stuck? What could I let go of just to feel a little freer? I don't have all the answers, and I'm not saying I've figured it out, but sitting here with you, sharing this old story, it feels like a gentle nudge. Maybe we don't need to hold on so tight. Maybe the crossing happens when we open our hands. What do you think? I'd love to hear what's on your mind as you listen to this. For now, let's just sit with it a bit longer, you and me, watching the river flow by in our own way. Thanks for being here, friend. Until next time.